Good morning, Alexia. It's Raptor Freak here. Wednesday morning, we just beat the Hornets last night. We're on the first night of a back-to-back. Tonight, we're in Chicago for the second night of a back-to-back. And yesterday in the afternoon, I got real worried when I heard Fred VanVleet got scratched for the game last night. And then Scotty Barnes, right before the game, got taken out of the lineup. But you know what? Actually, it was really solid planning by the team because honestly, I think that they only sat last night because of the back-to-back, y'all. And I think that we should fully expect Fred and Scotty to play tonight in Chicago. That honestly, that this was pre-planning, that they decided they didn't think they'd need them to play Charlotte last night. So they sat them. And we didn't need them, obviously, because we kicked some major ass in the Hornets game last night. Very interesting to see Pascal Siakam at the beginning of the game in the graphic with the PG next to his name. I think that was the first time ever in his career that he started at point guard. Because before that, when Scotty was still going to be playing, he was going to start at point guard. And I was really excited about the prospect of this bigger lineup. So when Fred got bumped and it said, okay, they're going to start Precious instead of him, I was like, okay, that's going to be a big lineup with Scotty at point guard and Gary at shooting guard, OG and Pascal at the forwards, and Precious at center. But then Scotty got bumped, and they added Chris to the lineup, so that got even bigger. So then it became Pascal at point guard, Gary at shooting guard, OG at small forward, and then it was like Precious and Chris at the 4 and the 5. And that was a really awesome tall lineup. Like, honestly, it worked really well. Like, our offense looked really efficient and smooth. But, part of it is we got to remember that Charlotte is a really bad defensive team. Like, we've been seeing top-notch defensive teams recently. So it's really, you can compare the two to how easy they were able to operate, how well they were able to shoot. And that shows you just how hard it is to score in the NBA against top defensive teams. That the contrast is, well, this team was not a good defensive team. And you see how easy our guys get shots. They make them and all this kind of stuff. It was really crazy and interesting, the difference. Like, Charlotte's a weird team. I don't understand how they have a better record than us. Like, really, they're all a bunch of young guys, and I guess they have a lot of spunk and pep. And they get up for big games, like the one that they beat some teams that I'm amazed that they beat them. Because honestly, I'm not afraid of them at all. At least maybe it's a matchup thing between Toronto and Charlotte. But man, we really have their number. Like, any of their strengths against other teams get negated against our team by the way that it's made up because of all the length and all the athleticism. It just cancels out any kind of youthful athleticism for another team like that. And, they have to have something else, like maybe a vet, or they have to have a big guy that those kind of things will hurt us. But man, this was the kind of win we all needed. We needed a win where we got out on top. Like we said, we hit them first in the face. We got the early lead and we kept it. We kept the lead, and when they would get close, we'd pour a little bit more syrup on top just to make sure we stayed ahead of them. And that was really, really, really good. And we'll go into more about it. I know you guys are all excited. Let's see what you're saying this morning. Graham, good morning. Good to see you first. They heard last night and got off to a fast start. Yeah, they really did get off to a great fast start. It was amazing how many assists we were getting last night. Like, I hate to say it, but it's weird when, you missing some players and your offense looks really smooth and stuff like that. Now, listen, let's not get crazy and say, oh, we don't need Fred anymore. Because some Raptor fans, they overreact in this kind of way, where they see something like last night and they're like, well, we don't need Fred anymore. No, you're crazy and you're stupid. We need Fred because Fred is on top of everything. He's really great. And if Fred had been in the game last night, the game would have been just as smooth and would have been just as amazing, and he would have been a part of it also. It's just that, you can get success against a lower team like that with less of your players. Doesn't mean you don't need those players. Fred is so valuable and important to this team. But, it could be the kind of a future kind of thing where we see this big, huge lineup with every single one of our guys being around 6'9" on the court. And that's kind of what we started last night, which was really interesting, really telling. And it works. It really works. At least against a team like Charlotte, it works. Andrew, let's go! Huge win. Took the sting out of those tough guy Hornets. Oh, yeah. They weren't doing nothing. We aren't allergic to hornet stings. No, we aren't. Like there was a lot of weird things going on in that first half of the game. The refs were awful. The refs were so one-sided in the beginning of the game, and the things that they were doing, the foul calls, we got like 10 or 12 foul calls before they even got one. They didn't get a foul called on them until the second quarter last night by that ref crew. That ref crew was really, really skewed to helping Charlotte last night, but it didn't matter. Once again, this is what I'm saying. We know to expect ref calls to be really shitty, really, really shitty and bad. And that happened again last night in the first half, but we just overcame it. We just played through it. And we you know what, the other team, they made themselves look like knuckleheads at other times. Like there was that one technical that I guess LaMelo got it. And I thought Chris had gotten the technical because honestly, he's the one who should have been cussing at that point because he's been getting hit and fouled left and right, and he doesn't get any respect or anything from these refs. Precious, the same thing. OG, the same thing. Our guys are just getting hammered left and right, and they're letting them do that. And then meanwhile, on the other end, we're getting stupid little touch calls. I was not impressed with that ref crew last night. They were really, really bad for the first half. But once we had the game in control and they had to relent and they probably saw the foul calls and how uneven they were at some point. And they're like, oh, crap, we need to make this up real quick. But, yeah, they were really, really evident with showing how their bias was in the first half, at least, with the calls. The calls were awful. They were awful. But once again, like we always say, we have to expect this. This is just part of the terrain and what we have to come into expecting just in case and have to overplay it. And that's what we did. It didn't matter that they were against us also because that was messed up. That was messed up. The refs were really bad in the first half. They really were. In the second half, it was a little bit better. It was a little more even. And that was good to see. Graham saying, great to see more Delano. Yes, Delano, once again, he came out and he really kind of took the same level of play from 905 in the last 3 games to the high level last night. Yeah, I loved seeing him go right to the basket and jam it like that at that one play. He's been doing that in 905 lately where he just kind of does a stagger dribble where he'll slow down for a second, but then he'll pick it back up real quick and zoom right by them. And all of a sudden it's a dunk at the rim. And I love seeing that from Delano. He really does look like he fits in the NBA, and he looks like he's going to get all kinds of nasty tricks with his game. Like those 2 corner threes that he hit were so consistent looking and nice, nasty. I really, really like what he did last night. I mean, he wasn't even in there for long. He only played 17 minutes last night. He got 10 points, 3 assists, and 3 blocks, y'all. Delano had 3 blocks last night. And, yeah, it was awesome to see all the bench guys do something. Like G saying Flynn played well. I'll say Flynn played okay. He had a good game. He contributed. He did different things. He got a post-game interview. 26 minutes, 11 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 steal. He made 4 out of 7 shots, which is much better than what he's been doing lately. It's still not super, super great, but it is bench production from him. I think that he had way too many minutes for what he did, but it is what it is. I'll take it. It's a beginning. And, but I still think that his nickname from yesterday was kind of what he did last night too. To me, it's just mediocre. And it's just what a guy off the bench is supposed to do. That's a normal night, and that's fine. It's not super great, but it's good enough. And I guess he ingratiated himself to get possibly more minutes, but it may be depending on the opponent. Because last night, a lot of what happened with this game last night was because of the opponent, Charlotte. Charlotte's a very interesting, weird team. Like I'm saying this again, I don't understand how the record is better than us. It really has to do with when you're catching other teams. Like if you're catching them on a good time where they're down and you could get these extra wins on top, that may be what's been happening with Charlotte because they're not a better team than Toronto Raptors. And if we play them in the playoffs or have to deal with them in a play-in or something like that, we're going to kick their ass. Because honestly, there's a couple of things in our favor. First of all, we have all kinds of mismatches on them that we can absolutely execute and destroy them with. Second, we've got these vets that know more better to how to take over the game and beat them. That team is really a team like what people are saying we should be like, that Charlotte team last night. That's who they are. They're like who we're supposed to be. But we're above them and better than them because of veteran experience and just a better all-around built team. than theirs. I mean, they have a lot of talent and they have some interesting players, but they're very young. They're very inexperienced. These guys haven't sniffed the playoffs or anything like that. I mean, what did they do last year with LaMelo? I don't know. Did they make the playoffs? Did they do a whole lot? No, I don't think so. So these guys got to go through a lot of rites of passages themselves. And I'm not scared of Charlotte. I think that we could beat them every single game this year that we face them. And in this stretch of games, it's so weird. We're playing the same 4 teams twice over 8 games. And the crazy thing is that Charlotte is the bookends of it. We just got the first end of the book. And when we get to the end of this 8 games bit that we're doing right now, they're going to be the last game on the end of it. So we'll get to see where we're at by then and where they're at by then, because we got to play Miami twice. We got to play Atlanta twice. We got to play Chicago twice. And then we come back around and we play Charlotte again in Charlotte. So it's a really, really interesting part of the schedule that we're playing these other Eastern teams twice like this. In this way. In Chicago tonight, it's very interesting. I'll do a proper preview for the game tonight with the injuries. There's a lot of injuries for Chicago. They're ripe for the picking. And we got a good chance tonight, especially if what I'm saying at the beginning of this podcast, this live stream is true, that we held out Freddie and Scotty last night on purpose for rest reasons to play against the Bulls tonight. That we could probably fully, because I don't think these guys really were hurt. I think that they got rest games because of the back-to-back today. And that they decided, because, Fred's from Illinois. Chicago is a big game for him. And going into Chicago and playing the Bulls is a huge deal to him. He wears 23 for a reason, y'all. So listen, he's going to be playing tonight. Fred's going to be available to play tonight. That it was just a rest game yesterday. And I'll bet you that Scotty's the same. That he's going to be back tonight also, just because this was very purposeful. They wanted to rest them for the Charlotte game because they wanted them fresh for tonight as reinforcements to really try and give a good effort to win the Chicago game tonight. And some people at the beginning of the game last night were like, well, look at what Nick Nurse's strategy of running guys to the ground has done to our guys. They're all hurt now. No, they weren't hurt. They're slightly hurt. Maybe a little bit of something in my knee, Scotty. A little something in my wrist, Fred. No, they're not that hurt. This was very calculated rest game before a back-to-back. And the game they wanted is Chicago. And that's the one they wanted to play in. And that's why. Let's see. Graham said, I meant to say they heard you. Hell, listen, I don't think anybody's watching me. Sometimes I feel like Jack Armstrong might be watching me. Jack, if you guys are watching me, do me a shout out sometime. Just say something on the air. Say Raptor Freak live stream on YouTube. What's up? I don't know if you are listening to me. I mean, hey, I don't think anything big like that. But, some of these media types with the Raptors, they do go out and check all the Raptors content that's out there. And they may be keeping their eye on me to a certain extent. Somebody in MLSE, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, let's see. Masai dabbed Justin after the ejection. Wasn't that such a Mac Daddy move? Like, listen, okay, I don't know if Justin and PJ have an issue from before this, but it really seemed like it because they were really WWF right away. And they weren't even in the game together that long. They were in the game for a couple minutes, and there was a lot of bam and bam and bam. And, I said this in the last couple of weeks. It's the person who retaliates that gets in trouble. And unfortunately, Justin was the guy who retaliated, and he paid for it. And it was really kind of dumb. But also in the same token, I love that fire. I love that fight that he showed, especially against a guy that's much taller than him. And he was ready to scrap with him. And he's like, no, I'm not going to take this. There was a dirty hit that he did when he came back. It really smacked the kind of the Jokic thing that happened this year. But I really like that he didn't back down. And that's important. This is a little bit of the edge that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks that maybe the Raptors need more of, is that Charles Oakley, Serge Ibaka enforcer kind of mentality. And the fact that Justin did that and had that, I had no problem with that. The refs are actually throwing people out of games pretty quickly at this point. And honestly, that trade wasn't that big a deal for like who we lost compared to who they lost. It was negligible, really. Like, Justin's a great player and he adds a lot to us. And people were like, oh no, Justin's only one of the few that he's going to rotate in the game. But he didn't do that. He rotated a good, nice, full bench last night, and he used everybody eventually, even if the guys at the end didn't get to play. And it was very telling and interesting that it was Fee who was the odd man out of all those guys and not getting to play big minutes in that game. And Bonga also. But I think Bonga totally deserves to get more run. I think part of it right now is he's still slightly injured, but he is good enough to play on the main roster right now and do a lot of good things without making a lot of mistakes, because his game is solid all around, just like the main core guys right now. And Bonga really is kind of like an emergency reserve that can be thrown in there and do an adequate job in those kind of roles that those other guys are doing already, because he is a future one of these guys. Like, he is that good, guys. Isaac Bonga is going to be a Raptor for many years, and he's going to be a good one. So trust me that I say this right now. Out of all of our young guys that are coming up, him and Delano are the two that, Scotty, obviously, of course, but him and Delano are the two that are going to stick around. Watch. Trust me. Seriously, it's going to be Bonga. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, and I love, all right, getting back to your point, G, I love Masai. Masai's like, this is fuck Brooklyn Masai. He's just like, yeah, I see what you did, Justin. I'm not mad at you. You know what? Yeah, that was so awesome. You were exactly right, G. That it just shows the kind of leadership in for all for one, all for just for the team. Sue, good morning, everyone. What a game. This team has me on a wild roller coaster ride from one game to another. Our bench came through and played well, and our starters were so good. So nice to see them all playing well as a team. Flynn's dad will be happy today. Yeah, our team is one of the weirdest NBA teams of all time. Like, honestly, every single game, we don't know what we're going to get. It's a weird Kinder egg. We open the egg, and sometimes it's a puzzle. Sometimes it's a shitty sticker. But sometimes it's the most amazing, like, model of like a car or a plane or something. We get the coolest toys sometimes, and sometimes we just get duds. It's such a weird team. And even with the starting lineup last night and the whole feel of the game, and just every single game is weird. It's weird that he does these 7-man rotations sometimes. It's weird that we have a game like Detroit and then we go into Milwaukee and do what we do. It's weird that we have a game like Portland on Sunday and then we have a game like the game last night. It's just a weird team. We are weird. We are weird. We need to embrace the strange. We are such a weird team, and I love it. I'm here for it because, honestly, it's going to keep people guessing. They have no idea what to expect when they play the Raptors. I mean, they do. They can expect a lot of energy they have to expend and have a suffocating defense all over you and a lot of length and arms around you. But honestly, sometimes we just don't know what to expect with this team. They come out flat like that too much. I hate that. They made a concerted effort last night not to do that anymore, and they did a good job last night. But it's such a weird team. It's a wild card team. We got a wild card team. So wild. I don't understand it either. And it was good to see Flynn get out there and get some minutes and have some success and not be a total failure. Yes, there's a little bit of that, but still, he hasn't won me over. Honestly, he's got to do way more. And to me, he just had kind of good minutes. And you look at the last 4 minutes where they took all the starters out, and you look how badass Charlotte played against our bench. Our bench was absolutely awful right at the end, and they let them close some of the gap on the 20-point gap that we had on them just at the end of the game, just in a couple of minutes. They didn't even score any points. The other team Charlotte was just scoring at will right at the end, and the margin was big enough it didn't matter. And, the whole thing about Pascal not getting that last rebound and this whole thing about the triple-double, I want to talk about this really fast right now because it pisses me off so much. I feel like the NBA is so petty. They go back and they review box scores, and then 4 days later, they tell Pascal that his second triple-double doesn't count because 2 of the rebounds were team rebounds that he caught with Chris Boucher's hand on the ball also. That is why, y'all. The NBA is going back and meticulously rescoring the game, even though the box score at the time, the way the person scored it was that he had 10 rebounds. They took 2 of his rebounds away 4 days later and told him he doesn't have 2 career triple-doubles anymore, that he just has the one from a couple years ago from his all-NBA year, and that is bullshit. But, listen, I did some research on this, and apparently the NBA does this to people all the fucking time. It's messed up. They've done this to LeBron a few times, apparently. And he said this is his reaction. It's the same as Pascal's last night, is, I don't give a fuck. You think I give a shit if I got a triple-double or not? I just care if I win. And that's what Pascal said also. He doesn't care. Like, the whole thing about missing one rebound to get the triple-double last night is not a big deal to him. All he cares about is the win. And that's the right answer. That is totally the right answer, because that means he's not working from his ego and his own selfish wants and needs and motives for his stats. And I love that. But this man deserves another triple-double. He almost had one last night, and he should have had one for that Milwaukee game when we played. It was so petty of NBA statisticians or whoever the fuck goes over the games and checks them later. Why are you doing this? Why can't you just go by the box score from what they did for that day? Because on the old recap from that game, it still says at the top of it, Pascal Siakam got his second triple-double tonight. But he doesn't have two triple-doubles anymore because y'all's petty ass 4 days later negated it. That's messed up. Stat correction, fuck you. That's what I got to say to that. And Pascal won't say it. Nobody else in the organization will say that, but I'll say it for them. Fuck you, stat correction, for fucking taking two of his rebounds away. And I love that he did it in the interview. He starts saying, I should blame Chris for having his hand on the ball and being aggressive also, because that's what they did. They took his rebounds away and called them team rebounds. That's what happens when two guys bring the ball down together. They don't just give it to one guy. They say it's a team rebound, and neither one of them get it. And that's so fucked up and underhanded. Anyway, all right, that's just my rant on the whole Pascal Siakam triple-double scandal bullshit. And, you know, it hurts that he didn't go back and reclaim one last night and get one rebound, but it is what it is. Who cares? We need to be more like Pascal and just say we don't give a fuck about triple-doubles. They're going to come when they come. And trust me, he's going to get more of them, especially if he's going to start starting at point guard. He's going to get more triple-doubles if he's going to be like a point guard in our system more often. So, yeah, it was, man, I hate that. It's so petty to me. But like I said, I had to do some research to see if they've been doing it to other people. And they've been doing this to other people for years, apparently. Like for 10 years, people think they get triple doubles. And then a couple days later, stat correction comes in and changes it and takes it away from players and tells them they don't have a triple double anymore. It's so messed up. Anyway, enough about that. I had to say something about that because it's really been pissing me off. The first time I saw the tweet about them reviewing and taking two rebounds away from Pascal Siakam in that Milwaukee game, I thought it was a joke post. I thought it was like somebody's making fun of the pettiness of the NBA towards the Raptors, but it was a real post. It was truthful. And I was like, holy shit, this shit is real. This is messed up. All right, let's keep going. Sue's saying also, so glad to see how well and consistent Pascal is every game lately. He's becoming so reliable for us, and that is awesome. Isn't he? He is a consummate pro right now. Like, honestly, and once again, I will say this about Fred and Pascal. They are way too young to be at this level of vet. They are advanced vets before even in their prime years. This is the crazy thing. Pascal is not even close to his prime years. He's got to get to around 30, 31, 32, and then he's going to be even more of a master, even more really, really calculated with every body movement and every single thing that he does on the court will be so calculated. And it's like, think about DeMar DeRozan and how he's improved over the years. Since we're playing him tonight, think about how he has made himself better and better and better and more deadly as the years going on. And think about how deadly Pascal is right now. And if he continues on this arc of improving like this, just think about where he'll be in a couple years. This guy's going to be completely unstoppable because right now he's unstoppable. And the thing I love the most about this year's Pascal compared to Pascal All-Star NBA 2 years ago is that he's coming in and the old Pascal, he would rely too much on his outside shot. And he was getting a lot of his shots from when he was making his outside shot consistently, but not this year. This year, it's all about getting closer to the basket, getting higher percentage shots, and taking really good shots. And that's helping his field goal percentage. That's helping his scoring average and everything because he's going and doing the work to get into the lane, get closer, and make an easier shot. And I love that. I love that because that wasn't always Pascal. He'd shy away from driving to the lane. He would settle for taking jump shots more too often. And even when he was in his all NBA year. Now this year, he's much better at getting to the basket and getting these really good high percentage shots. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But yes, he's like a master, a painter. He's like, we're seeing him at work with every brushstroke and every like beautiful image that he's starting to create on the court. He is just an artist. He's an artist. And what he's doing right now on the court is fantastic to see. And honestly, other teams can't stop him at this point. And when more and more like guys like OG and Scotty around him, they can't stop them either around him. And the whole thing with Gary last night getting 32, he opened up that game wide open and made it so easy for guys to operate in different ways just because he was so deadly with his shot and stuff like that. He is a really important dimension, and he was part of what was missing in the recent weeks. When Gary and Kem were out, we were missing our best screener and our best spot-up shooter. And the things that they do to help us get open shots were felt in our field goal percentage during that stretch. The fact that Fred couldn't get as free to get his three-pointers, that's part of why he was struggling. And then Gary just spreading the floor and allowing OG and Pascal more room down low to operate helps their field goal percentage so much. And that's a part of the perfect storm of Portland. That's a part of the perfect storm of Dallas and Miami last week, that we didn't have this three-point shooter that could bomb and spread the floor and make it easier for OG and Pascal to get lanes to go to the basket. And man, it's so awesome to see Gary get 32 points like that. That is something we can expect more of as he's healthy and he's in more of a rhythm, that he should be able to get 20 to 30 points every single night. And maybe even on some special nights, he could get between 40 and 50 points. Yeah, I'm serious. If we really try and start feeding him, and we need to, that guy could get up there real fast because he can make them quick. He can make them real quick. All right, Andrew's saying Nick's mind games. Nick's mind games on Malachi have paid off. Yeah, I don't know if Nick's actually playing any mind games on him. I think it's just Eric Flynn's playing mind games with Nick Nursery and maybe even with his son. I don't know. The thing is, as well as Malachi played last night, he didn't play as well as he did last year at times, though, still. Like he was okay. He was fine. He was adequate. And you could see some of the old synergy between him and Boucher from last year in Tampa, some of the synergy between him and some of the older Raptors. Like he really does have established team time with Pascal, OG, Fred, Chris, everybody from last year. He has a certain, even Yuta to a degree, because he had to play a lot with Yuta last year too. They have a nice natural chemistry already, but I still don't like how he isn't getting more assists. Like if he's out there for 26 minutes, he should have more than 3 assists. Like Pascal had 12 assists last night. I still feel like maybe he should be passing more at this point if his shot is just kind of shaky. Look for other guys. And I hate his high dribble. He does this stupid high dribble. It's so fundamentally bad, and it's just ripe for the picking. Somebody's going to pick his pocket left and right if he continues to do his stupid high dribble. It's the worst. I hate it. So I'm not totally on Malachi's side, even though he had a good game last night, because honestly, I think we could upgrade and get much better stuff from those minutes off the bench at this point. I'm going to start thinking that way also. Is like, could we do better with that time off the bench? Yeah, because these are the places where we could really improve our roster for in the off season. Is we got to think about it that way. So let's see. Sue says we should own our weird. Yeah, I think so too. Like they tried to pinpoint who we were at the beginning of the season. They said we were weird then, and boy, we weird. We are weird. Yes, we are. Kenny saying, good morning, everyone. Nice closeout last night. We just need to start well today. Yes. This is a good sentiment, Kenny. Good morning to you, sir. As usual, I totally agree. And let me just talk a little bit about Chicago since you just brought it up. This is what they're looking like today. Lonzo's out, of course. We said Lonzo just went under surgery to repair a meniscus tear in his left knee. Alex Caruso has had surgery on Monday to fix his fractured wrist from the dirty hit from Grayson Allen. Patrick Williams is still out. He's been out since October. Vucevic is actually probable today. He is day-to-day. He could be not playing, but I bet you he will play tonight. So we need to be looking out for the center. Cook is out. Tyler Cook is questionable. Actually, he may play. He's questionable because of his eye. And then the most recent one is Derek Jones Jr. has fractured his right index finger, and he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. So they're missing guys. Now, even DeMar missed a game recently, but he should be playing tonight. So it's interesting. And some of these guys are important to their defense. Like I said before, Alex Caruso is has been shown statistically that he adds so much to their defensive style and how they play when he's out there. So him not being there, Lonzo not being there, these are big, big losses for them. And we need to capitalize them. And once again, on our side of the ball, we got Kem out. Obviously, he's not going on this trip because he's not going to be available to play. But this says a lot that Fred and Scotty are both in Chicago with the team right now. And that's why I'm saying the game yesterday was just a one game out because it's a back-to-back and they're saving them for tonight. Fred's not going to miss a game in Chicago in Illinois. He's not. So we can fully expect Fred for sure to be there tonight. And Scotty, I'm pretty sure will be there too also, just to be there for the fun and be involved in it and stuff. So, and I don't know, David Johnson's still in COVID protocol. And then you got, Tragic being tragic somewhere in a dark corner in Miami. Who knows what he's doing exactly. Maybe he's like hanging out in a canal with an alligator. I don't know what he's doing. Who cares? Raymond Jacob, good morning. How many triple doubles taken away from Westbrook? Bet he throws fits. Yes, that is another name that was on the whole thing about talking about taking triple doubles away from players. See, the thing I don't agree with it is that you get some of these guys never get another chance. Like some of the names I was seeing who got their triple double taken away were guys that just got that one time and then it was taken away and they never got one ever. And eventually, at least Pascal has an established one for sure. Like, I'm worried about this one that Fred just got. Are they going to try and take it away from him 2 months later or something like that? So messed up and wrong. Stat correction, you're a buzzkill. And you're an asshole, man. But at least you're doing it to everybody. Like, I was worried that you just were pinpointing Pascal and being mean to him. But apparently you've done this to LeBron a few times also and Russell. So, hey, all right, I guess it's fair. Callie, good morning. I hope I don't think your stress meter was very high last night. Pascal is such a good place right now, playing more patient, smart basketball. He really does take his time. That's the thing. You could tell when he was younger, it was about the speed. It's about learning when to burst and when not to burst. If you're nervous bursting, you're easy to stop. But if you're really good and patient and calculated with when you make your move and you're just smart about it, you can have really good success. And he's gotten to that point where he's really astute about when to make his first step and make that first move to burst to go to the basket. And it's a joy and it's a pleasure to watch him operate these days and the way he's playing in basketball games right now. He's a master. Like I said, he's an artiste. And I love it. I love it so much. All right, let me look at that box score a bit from last night with Charlotte. There was a lot of interesting going-ons in this game between the ejections and, different stuff with our bench coming in and, all the things with them getting technicals. That really showed the inexperience and youth of their team, that they collected 2 technicals in the game just from cussing, just from being on the court and saying stupid shit, Bridges and Ball. Both of them got one. And that one, I was saying that I thought LaMelo, the one that LaMelo got, I thought Chris Boucher had actually gotten that technical because honestly, if anybody deserved to cuss at the refs at that moment, it was Chris Boucher because he just got hammered. But they called the technical late because LaMelo, they wanted to let us have the opportunity to complete the play before they stopped play because LaMelo already had the technical because he said something on the last play when they had the ball. And then we went down and they allowed us a chance to try and score. And then they were going to call the technical anyway. But it's very interesting. It showed the immaturity of the youth of their team getting dumb technicals just from talking, just for saying stuff, just for cussing, just being idiots. So, but it was a fun game. It was a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, it was great that we were on top most of the time. I'm sure Callie's stress level wasn't too super high last night. Of course, Gary Terry was annoying. He was all over the place. He was being scrappy, but he didn't really score a whole lot. It was LaMelo and Bridges that were doing the damage for the most part, and they shot pretty well. I mean, they both shot over 50%. Plumlee was annoying at times. Even the Martin twin was a little bit goonish like his brother was in Miami. This is something I want to talk about, actually. Okay. This is something I'm noticing, and this is something the NBA needs to really pay attention to and watch out because they're going to have a tragedy happen. They're going to have something really bad happen in this league. Lately, this is going back to Scotty Barnes' dunk in the Miami game when the Martin twin hit him on the way out. This is something that normally does not happen in the NBA. And I don't understand this. And maybe we do it too, but I don't see us doing as much. There's a lot of people hitting people while they're in the air trying to go up to hit dunks. And in the past, there was an unwritten rule in the NBA that you don't hit somebody in the air like that because you could cause them a really serious career-ending injury. And now we're seeing all these guys hitting guys while they're in the air, whether it was Chris Boucher last night when he was on a break and he had a dunk. They hit him in a way where he could have hit his head on the back of the backboard, on the backboard, and like hit his chin like that. That's very dangerous. I do not like seeing this trend of players, defenders, taking cheap shots at people who are defenseless in the air trying to go for dunks. Because in the past, this wasn't a thing in the NBA. There was an unwritten rule that you protect each other for their careers and you don't do shit like that. In a way, it's very dirty. It should be looked at by the NBA because what's going to happen is somebody's going to get very seriously hurt. And it's going to be very egregious and awful. It's going to be a really awful, horrific thing. Like the thing with Scotty that happened the other night could have been really, really bad. Really bad. And the thing with Chris last night could have been really bad. So the NBA really needs to watch out how guys are hitting guys in the air when they're going up this dunk, because this is very dangerous and is wrong. And they, in the past, they didn't do this kind of shit. Once a guy's at a certain point in the air, you don't hit him because it's very dangerous. And the NBA may need to rectify their rules about it because they're allowing a lot more contact this year. And this is an area that they're not covering up and protecting the players on. And seriously, some of these calls, they're not even calling them. So it's kind of messed up. I saw that with the Chris dunk last night, and it made me think, this is out of control at this point. Hitting guys in the air when they're defenseless and they're just trying to dunk is really bad. Really, really, really bad. Really bad. Okay, let me keep going with that. Talking about that just a little bit. Really interesting. That Thor guy came in late. He did okay. Book night was really annoying. With getting fouls and getting into the lane and getting to line. 18 points off the bench for him. Oubre had his little spots. But mostly our guys, let's look at them real quick. Pascal just 1 rebound shy of a triple-double. Masterful work. Chris Boucher didn't have a lot of points, but he was active. 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He got 2 threes, which was nice. They were crucial threes at different times. Precious, 9 points, 7 rebounds. Okay, he didn't play as much as the other starters at times. OG was silently really good. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. And Gary, oh my gosh, 11 for 21 from the field, 5 of 10 at the 3-point line. 32 points. That's what I'm saying. This guy can fill it up really fast and do a lot of good, get a lot of points quickly for us. And he's such an important, essential part of our team because he's unlike most of our other players. We need more guys maybe like Gary. Like if we could get a bench vet that can kind of do Gary kind of stuff off the bench, that would be really good. And then let's talk about the bench, guys. Yuta, only 3 points in 22 minutes, but he was really active, and you're rooting for him. You want him to do well. He had some challenges at the basket that were really, really daring and risky because he was going up against some big guys, and he had good success. He stopped them a couple times and didn't let them score easy baskets just because of his presence being near the basket. And I really applaud him for that because you have to be daring to get up there and get in the mix with some of the big guys and some of the things he was doing last night. Champagne, not much to talk about just because, that whole thing, we already kind of talked about him. I've talked about Malachi enough for this. I think Banton was phenomenal, honestly. 4 of 8, 2 of 4 for 3. The 2 threes really impressed me, honestly, because they showed a lot of confidence and cockiness that he was just like, I'll shoot this. And they looked good. And he made 2 of them. So it was nice and consistent. And then the other 2 guys, I can't really talk too much about them, Svi and Bonga. Svi did manage to miss both the shots that he took at the end of the game, which is too bad because that would have really helped propel him in the other way. I think that Svi may be in trouble with his confidence because honestly, at the beginning of the game, I watched the pregame warm-ups for an hour before the game because they have the feed on the League Pass where you can just watch the players play shoot before. And I watched Svi shoot around before the game. He was missing everything. Not only was he missing threes that he was shooting, he was missing layups. He'd run up and he'd try and lay the ball in and roll out. So there's something really wrong with Svi right now. We need him to shake it or do something. I don't know. G saying the worst part is Miami fans wanted Barnes to apologize to the fan. The refs in the league are normalizing being hit in the air and then playing a victim. Yeah, I don't know. That's so dumb. And listen, those Miami fans are idiots, honestly. They're just self-centered idiots with all their stupid shit down there. Yeah, he apologized to her. Everything was fine. Once again, I still want to see the footage. But yeah, the whole issue here is about hitting somebody while they're in the air. That's fucked up, and it's really bad for the game. Because if you do that on a court downtown with street ball with just regular people, you hit somebody dirty like that while they're in the air, there's going to be a fight. And, it's really bad. They need to watch out for this because this is a trend that's not good for the NBA, especially with the more increased physical play. These athletes are super athletes. They can run and they're really strong and they're fast. And you're hitting somebody in the middle of the air and there's hard objects up there like the basket, the backboard, there's the fans, there's cameramen, there's all kinds of stuff you could run into and you could hurt yourself. And you can't have guys pushing guys while they're in the air like that. That is like a full out push like Martin did to him in the air. Like that is really, really dangerous and risky. And I'm shocked that he didn't get a real more than just a regular foul for that, because he was pushing him. He wasn't trying. See, if you're doing that and you care about the player, you grab them before they're starting to get the crowd. No, he full on kept pushing as he went through the motion with him, the Martin twin in that game. I don't even care which one it is. They're both idiots. So I'm not even going to say which one it is because I'm not going to get them separated. I don't care. This is the thing with these goon twins in the NBA. I don't even care to figure out which one's which. They're just goons, whether the Morrises, the Lopez, whatever. They're all goons. All right, let's see. Sue's saying maybe the refs, maybe the NBA should say that if you do the dirty on someone in the air and they are out, then the player that hit them should be out as long as the person they hit. It isn't cool. Yeah, like this thing with Caruso and Grayson Allen, is it fair to Chicago that they are going to miss their player probably for a month, maybe 6 weeks? And meanwhile, Grayson Allen just misses 1 game suspension? That doesn't seem commiserate with the issue of what happened. So, yeah, I think I might agree with what Sue's saying, especially if it can be directly linked to somebody doing an egregiously flagrant, dangerous, dirty thing. That maybe they should consider this kind of thing because, it's not fair. Teams could do a lot of dirty stuff and take out really good players with dirty things if there's no repercussions. And this is something the NBA is going to need to rectify. I mean, I like the more physical play. I like a lot of this stuff, but there's within reason. You have to have safety for players. And some of the trending I'm seeing right now with hitting guys while they're in the air is really bad. It's really bad. It's not good for the NBA because you're going to have injuries that could have been avoided just because of cheap shots. So anyway, all right, let me switch gears. We're about 40 minutes in, and I'll switch to the Chicago game more and talk more about getting ready for tonight. Obviously, the Bulls are missing some key guys. Hopefully Vucevic doesn't play tonight. But if he does, we got to be ready for him to double down on him and do things against him. I really like the things that we've been doing against big guys for the most part, but they have kind of hurt us at the beginning. So this is something maybe tonight we need to watch out at the beginning of the game, them using Vucevic to get established in their offense at the beginning of the game. And if we can really stifle him and cause him problems, it may make it harder for them to get their offense going. Because that's really the key in some ways for teams to get going, is to go down low and get an easy high percentage shot from their big guy, especially if they have a big guy and we don't. So they're going to be thinking that. So I think that they're going to feed Vucevic at the beginning of the game to try and get a score if he is available to play tonight. And then obviously later in the game, we really got to watch out for DeMar DeRozan, because in the later stages of the game, that's when he's going to try and take over things. So I want to see this great matchup, OG Anunoby guarding DeMar DeRozan. Now, OG did a good job at times last night with his OG-itis on Bridges and LaMelo and different people for the Hornets. But we really want to see him have more of his really clamped down defense on DeMar, because honestly, he is a guy who will kill us at the end of the game if we can't control him. And he's going to want to, honestly. Now, this is a weird thing. We played them only one time this season, and it was in the first 4 games of the season. We were still playing Dragic when we played Chicago the first time. And it was a different kind of part of the year. They started super, super hot like the New York Knicks did, and they were on a win streak, and they were killing people left and right. Well, they've had some problems recently with losing and with having injuries and different things like that. Like I said, I think they've only won 3 out of their last 10 games. So they're on a downswing. We need to capitalize on this. We need to have no mercy. I'm really hoping Fred will be out there to be the floor general and really help direct this team towards beating the Bulls tonight. It's not going to be easy, because once again, we're going into a place where there's fans. The fans will be loud. We don't have fans ourselves, but some ways that's good for us because we actually have that fan interaction and energy in the building. And then this is number 2 in the Eastern Conference. Miami's number 1 right now. Chicago's number 2. That's the statement game. You need to beat these top games, especially when they're in a weakened place like Chicago is right now. They are in a weakened place to a degree. So, man, containing DeMar, containing Levine, and just trying to not let any of their role players do anything crazy. They're starting their rookie at point guard right now, Ayo or whatever, and he's played really well for them. He's a neat little nice new player, but he's a rookie still. And maybe that could be Achilles heel for them tonight, that maybe we could force him into some turnovers, into some bad play, by really affecting him with our size that matches up well with him. And then on top of that, our more veteran leadership with some of those guys, because he is a rookie starting at point guard for them tonight. So we need to watch out for the Ayo guy and really mess him up, teach him some lessons, make him make rookie mistakes, stuff like that. So, yeah, okay. And other than that, I honestly feel good about the game tonight, even though it's a little weird and crazy, because look, they lost to Orlando on Sunday. Just a couple of days ago, they lost to Orlando, and not only lost to them, they lost to Orlando by almost 20 points. So, if they're losing to teams like that right now and they're getting jumped on, we need to be one of these teams to jump on them right now, because we're in a good place and in a good way to do it. We're playing well and stuff like that. Like I said, the Portland game was an aberration. We had a really bad half, and that was it. But that's not indicative of who we are. Last night is more indicative of who we are in some ways. So lots of fun to watch the Charlotte game. Really interesting to see the way they were passing the ball around, and really fun to see Pascal be more of the real true point guard last night. And he really was. And there was only a couple times where it was really dangerous and bad not having a real point guard, where the OG got that 8-second call when he's struggling to get the ball across the court. And that's about it. Tom Duke. Okay, listen, since Tom's here, I'm going to do my realistic Raptor mascot challenge. So tonight they're playing the Bulls. I missed a couple games with this, Tom, and I apologize. But, we're playing on these teams over and over again. So maybe if I miss it, that's okay, because I don't want to do stale reruns over and over again. Okay, this is an interesting one. So the Raptor went to Spain, and he heard about this running of the Bulls competition. They heard that some people die in it. Yeah, the bull will actually catch the people and trample them or gore them right with their horn right into their side. This is real shit. This happens with the runnings with the Bulls. With the Raptor, he's a crazy guy. We've seen him, what he does in halftimes and stuff, dunking blindfolded, hitting his head on things, falling down the stairs with high definition televisions and dropping them all over the place. He's a man of danger and risk. He loves the edge of life. So he said, I'm going to go to Spain and I'm going to run with the Bulls. And well, listen, the Bull was like really testy. He was a little hurt. He had like a little bit of a hurt like leg, and he wasn't feeling well. He wasn't 100%. So he was like a little ornery, and the Raptor but he was ready. He was spry. He was feeling real quick to the foot, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go release the Bull. And he's running down the streets of Pamplona or whatever, wherever they're going. And that Bull's kind of trying to get him running real quick. And the Raptor's just like, and he jumps over the fence, and the Bull runs right into the fence and bong, and like falls down. And the Raptor's on the other side of the fence, and he's like, ha, yes, and the Raptor wins. That's it. All right, I guess that's the realistic Raptor mascot challenge for today. He went the running of the Bulls, and he beat them. That's right. Yeah, Tom, that's it for you, buddy. All right, let's go. We got to beat the Bulls tonight. These games are going to come fast and furious for the next month or so. Like I said, between these 4 games and 5 nights at the end of this month and the 4 games at 5 nights at the end of February, these games are packed in. We're going to need that All-Star break because we're going to have so many games around the All-Star break coming up. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm here for it. I love it. So tomorrow we'll have a reaction to the game. And then, guys, on Friday, because it's 2 days off before the Miami game on Saturday, we're doing the Raptor Freak trivia on Friday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time sharp. I will be here at 9:30 a.m. Try and take on our champion G, who's in the running to get the JYD signed warm-up jersey. The winner of the Raptor Freak trivia for the season will get that sent to them at the end of it. So thank you all for being here and watching me. I appreciate all the likes and comments. Subscribe, share it anywhere you want. I'll be putting it up on Facebook in a couple of Raptor Facebook groups also, so look out for it there. Have a great Wednesday. Let's hope and pray that the Raptors can continue to win, beat Chicago tonight, have a 2-game win streak, and get a little bit further up in the play-in bracket. This is the thing. We are in really important close confines with Boston and Charlotte and Washington and New York and Atlanta. And these teams, there's going to be 2 of them on the way out. And we don't want to be one of them. We want to be the one on the way up, and some of these teams going down. Like, I think Charlotte and Washington are on their way down. Just from what we've seen of them in the last week, these teams are pretenders, and they will be heading back down below us. And that'll help, because that'll have more teams below us that will prop us up because they're not as good. Because listen, every time we play Charlotte, I want us to beat their ass. We should sweep Charlotte this season every time we play them, because they're not on the same level as us. They just aren't. All right, let's go. Beat the Bulls, baby. Woo! Woo! We got to handle DeMar. Give DeMar some OG-itis, baby. Oh, yeah. OG-itis.